Well, hey guys, welcome to this. We're all stuck in quarantine, so why not be stuck here together? What's up, Elle? What's up, Christopher? Cats might come. No promises. I said maybe. Um, I'm gonna paint some Warhammer stuff. Not very good at it. Um, is it relaxing? No. It's really stressful and frustrating because I'm not very good at it. I don't know why I do it. Um, but here we go. So yeah, I'm going to paint, which also requires me to have a bright lamp that points directly at my camera. So that's problematic. Um, I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. Give me a ping if you can actually hear me. And yeah, if you guys have questions, stuff you want to talk about, hit me in the chat. We'll talk about it. I don't know what I'm doing. This is weird. Um, what I am painting is these Stormcast Eternal minis from Warhammer in the Age of Sigmar. So most of these came from a starter box that was basically like the good guys and the bad guys, Stormcast and Chaos, which are the bad guys because Chaos is a super bad name. And those I painted up really easily, actually. And I got kind of like cocky and was like, "Oh hell yeah, I'm actually like pretty good at this." And then I started painting the Stormcast army, and they're a lot harder for some reason. Like I hit that curve, like the beginner's luck, like ran out. So I've been working on these guys. So okay, well let me show you like a good one, so that you're not like, "Oh wow, he's fucking terrible." Um, so like this dude, this is a Stormcast Eternal that I painted, and I'm pretty happy with how he turned out. Like I'm never gonna win a competition. No one's ever gonna be like, "Wow, here's $1,000 for painting a mini," but I'm happy with them. Like to just put on a table and play a game, I'm pretty satisfied with them, right? Um, that said, anytime you start a new mini, um, you suddenly forget everything you're supposed to do, and they look terrible until they don't. And it's like a long game of like patience, right? It's just like this long war of attrition until suddenly you have like a decent mini, right? So what I've been working on is I got this ballista and a crew. So I've been working on the ballista, which is, except for the base, pretty much done, right? The annoying thing about these models. Oh wow, does it say J on there still? Hey Luke. Um, so um, so I briefly went by. This is a weird story. This is a dumb story actually, because I've not always been very brilliant. Um, but so obviously my name is Joe. Hi. Um, but when I was graduating college, right? Um, my theater professors who meant well were like, "Well, there's already Joe Starrs performing and in the unions, right? Um, so you can't be named Joe." So I was like, okay. And honestly, like they meant well, and they're very smart, and I love them very much. But also, like, weren't actually like in this business at all. So it's not something I should have worried about at all. But I went by Jay for a while because I was very like young 19-year-old, 21-year-old me was like very freaked out by the idea that like I'd walk into show business incorporated and and get fined or something because my name was also Joe. They weren't completely wrong. Like it does get confusing for some people sometimes. There is another comedian named Joe Starr in New York. Occasionally, I've had someone pop into a show I was doing because I thought that I was going to be him. It's not that big a deal. There's also a French rapper named Joey Starr, and one time he hit someone on television, and his fans started yelling at me in French on Twitter, and that was a weird day. Hey, Canadian Cat Dad. So Warhammer, yeah, it's kind of like D&D. So D&D is like a small storytelling thing you do with your friends, and Warhammer is like chess, but like a lot more expensive and complicated. So it's like a war game, right? So you have it's like a buttload of minis, right? And you can either just play to annihilate each other, you can play for different objectives or goals and stuff like that. So it's part of a genre called wargaming that I'd always wanted to get into. Like for years and years and years, I've always wanted to play Warhammer, and then like 2 years ago, I was finally like, screw it, I'm going to do it. So that's what Warhammer is ish. It's a lot of dice rolling, so that's similar to D&D. But in terms of having like characters and ongoing narrative, there's like a lot less of that. Um, Hey Drew McFly, I'm new to tabletop. Is there a purpose for figures other than look rad as hell? Um, for tabletop, no. Um, I think for tabletop like D&D, minis just kind of like enhance um, the gameplay. You know, it helps you sort of like tweak your imagination a little bit. For wargaming, yes, like you have to have them. Um, every mini has like a certain set of rules. Um, and functions they serve. So for instance, like this ballista that I've just been like holding and forgot about is like a long range artillery thing, like sort of an anti-cavalry, anti-infantry sort of mini, and it is accompanied by two crew members who are I'm working on painting today. So they are very much in progress, right? I hate them. I hate them so much until they're done. Canadian Cat Dead. Yeah, it's like a little more like Risk, but like a lot more expensive and frustrating and stressful. And you have to put all the pieces together yourself and then paint them. Hey, Ken. Yeah, it is like you're having coffee with me. Let me grab my coffee. Hi, Kimberly. Hey, Tyler. I only play Age of Sigmar, actually. As timing worked, when I was like a kid, I got like this. I got some Eldar 40K, and in what I think was the first mature decision I ever made in my life, realized I was terrible at painting them, and asked my parents not to buy me anymore because they were expensive, and I was like ruining them. Now that I promised cats, like I hope they show up. Usually they're all over me, and I think today, for whatever reason, they're like, "Oh, he's working. Let's let him be." Bradley Burnett. Hey, Bradley. Do I have a regular Warhammer group? Yeah, I've got a bunch of people to play with. I actually play with Bert Jennings a lot. We played a game together like a week before the quarantine began, and now we just sing somewhere out there at each other. I play pretty regularly with Andrew Rollins DeWitt, who has a great podcast called Legend of the Painty Men, which is all about Warhammer Age of Sigmar. And it's super stupid and funny, and he mostly just talks about butts. So yeah, I play with those guys a lot, and there's actually a lot of comics in Los Angeles that play. But yeah, I just play Age of Sigmar. When I decided I wanted to jump back into Warhammer, I was like, yeah, I want to play Warhammer Fantasy. And then they were like, we've rebooted Fantasy. It doesn't exist anymore. And I was like, but then I looked at the box for Age of Sigmar, and it was, these guys. And like, I don't know, they look like something out of Flash Gordon. They look like they should be painted on the side of a van, and I love them. So I fell in love with the game. It's also a lot easier to play. A lot easier to play than Age of Sigmar. Ken, now I'm nervous because I also have a coffee mug full of water for my paints, and I keep reaching for it because I'm going to drink it. What up, Christopher? If I had to write an honest trailer for Warhammer, what sort of jokes and ideas would I focus on? It's pricey, it's expensive, it's time-consuming. It will slowly take over your home. Your partner will begin to hate it, and you for participating in it. Those are probably the big points. I don't know why I do this. Also, thank you guys for hanging out and subscribing and all that good stuff. And yeah, I don't really know what this is. Yeah, drinking paint, very bad for you. Hey, John. Dude, thank you very much. John was in New York for Mark Ellis's show over there at New York Comic Con. Mark was sweet enough to give me some time at his show in New York, and we had a good time. And that was a really fun show. I was just kind of mostly just trying out a lot of new, just weird stuff. It was mostly just me yelling into a microphone, but it was fun. I'm glad you were there. I'm glad you had a good time. I hope you guys are all good. Everything is super weird right now and scary and stressful. And I'm nervous and anxious as hell, and uh, hope you guys are doing good. I hope you're safe. I hope you got some ramen stocked up, and I hope you're healthy. Really do. Um, yeah, don't drink painty water. It's super bad. Uh, Chrissy, this is keeping my mind off the workout I'm currently doing. You're very welcome. I should probably be doing something like that myself instead of sitting and not painting the things I'm supposed to be painting. Hang on. Swear to God, I'm going to paint. Here's the challenge of doing this is because the painting is going to require me to be like this, and I'm not going to be looking at this. So I got to like figure out a balance, right? Um, I tend to keep my water in a clear cup glass. That's so much smarter, Christopher. However, my whole setup here is just janky as hell. I wish you guys could see it. I'm just using like a laptop webcam. I have this like flimsy card table that I have all my stuff set up on. And it's one of those weird, cheap fake woods that you're not allowed to get wet, which is not ideal for painting because I guess if I get it wet, it'll just fall apart. I've got my little Flight of the Navigator compliance lamp sort of like jankily attached to a piece of furniture, and I'm doing my best. Do you think tabletop games can transition into some kind of stream thing? Oh, they're already huge on streaming. Critical Role is like the biggest D&D streamer, obviously. And there's Beyond Heroes. There's tons of stuff. Hyper RPG, another channel I work at a lot, does a ton of streaming stuff, and you should really, really check out their backlog. I run a tabletop, like kind of like Cthulhu Lovecraftian horror game there called He Left It Dead. So if you want to check out like a streaming tabletop thing, check out volume 4 of that. It's just 4 episodes long. They're about 2.5, 3 hours each. So it's not like a huge time commitment, and I'm really proud of that one. So that'd be a good one to check in on. Hey, Vloggerhood. I love you too. Thank you, honestly, for hanging out. And I don't know. I hope this is helpful and distracting with all the hell and chaos that's out there. LB, what do you think was the best, worst things to come out of Screen Junkies Plus? My job was a good thing. I got hired because they were expanding so quickly with Screen Junkies Plus, and they needed someone to work on Honest Trailers with Spencer. So that's why I got hired. So that's cool. I really liked Casper's show. I thought that was such a good, fun show, and I really do think he's a good interviewer. Yeah, if you didn't get to see Casper's show, it was called Cult Classics, and he interviewed just other cult classic actors like Alan Tudyk and Ernie Hudson. He did the weirdest Shatner interview where Shatner only wanted to talk about horses and just like refused to talk about anything else but horses. It was super weird, but super, super fun. Hey, Burt Jennings. I did not watch Critical Role's Doom one shot, but I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, you guys throw your tabletop streaming recommendations into the chat. As a teenager, I got paid to sit in a hobby shop. No one ever came to and paint orcs all day. Alex, that's a dope job. I kind of wish I had that job, honestly. Yeah, that actually, I'm gonna paint. Speaking of what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm gonna paint. Okay, so I hate these right now. They're in like a very like in between phase. They're very messy. One thing I like about Stormcast is that at least the original run of Stormcast, they were just armor. Okay, so like that's kind of easier to paint and make look cool. And then suddenly they were like, oh, now they're just gonna have human heads. So now I gotta paint skin and things like that, and face details, which I'm a little nervous about. Lucas asks, do you get a chance to play Warhammer much? Not as much as I'd like to. Actually, before all this happened, before everything like went down, I was like, okay, I've invested a decent amount of money and time into these, so I want to start playing more. So I was trying to get into a swing of like at least like every other Sunday getting together with someone and playing. And then the apocalypse started, and we can't go near each other anymore. Isn't that fun? Paint question. What's your favorite? Shade, quick shade, wash. Actually, Christopher, for a second I was mistaking you for, I think that his screen name had Dad in it, who was asking like questions about tabletop, and for a second I thought you guys were the same person. I was like, wait a minute, did he fleece me? I think you knew more than he let on. What's your favorite shade? Nuln oil, baby. It's the best. It makes everything look cool. It's like the only reason any of my stuff looks good. Nuln oil is what it is, man. Um, you're not late. Prince that wasn't promised. You're right on time. It's fine. This is nothing. Just very weird. Just gonna not paint for a while and just talk to you guys. Um, hey, Victor, thank you very much. I hope you're well. Hope you're comfortable and all that good stuff. I hope all of you guys are, because it really sucks and is scary what's going on right now. So I hope you guys are good. I really genuinely do. I sound taller? Question: if there was a Phantom Screen Junkies tabletop game, what campaign would you run? Like a Screen Junkies inspired tabletop game. Or just like one that we'd play. It would have to be sort of fun and tongue in cheek, right? Like, because tone's important, and recognizing like who's at your table is important for GMing and like what they want. So like, there's no way that I could ever like have the expectation that Spencer play like some kind of like serious drama game of Dungeons and Dragons. Like, he's just not going to do it. So I think you have to tailor a game to what your players are going to want. So I think one with like Dan and Spencer and company would be like super kind of silly and stupid and fun. And there'd be beeves in it, because that's a fun thing to say. Lucas, I have not messed with contrast paints. However, Ninjanomics in the chat, aka Bert, is painting his new Chaos Army with contrast paints, and they look awesome. So I'm actually still using this paints that I got when I first got the starter box 2 years ago, because I'm cheap. Okay. Okay, here we go. I'm going to actually do some painting. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do some... What am I going to do? I'm going to do a little bronze touch up, because you see like this armor padding and stuff is like this bronze. So basically, as you go, like these coats are lined in blue, and then you just accidentally splotch blue all over your mini because you are an idiot and you're bad at painting. So then you go back through and you just cover and cover and cover until suddenly your mini looks decent. And I'm definitely not there yet, but I am going to figure out how to both show you that I'm painting and also be able to see the mini, because normally I'd be holding it off camera down here, and that would be weird and bad television. Hey, Glenn. I'm glad I'm doing this too. It's weird, and I'm also not pouring the right paint onto my board. Where's bronze? Hey guys, 1 second. I'll be right back. I'm back. Hey Christopher. Yeah, I usually use. Well, I don't know. I use a mix. Like, it's a lot of Army Painter and Citadel. Army Painter is the first stuff that I got. But I have found that, sorry, I'm shaking my paints. I have found that Citadel just has like a wider range of colors that I actually wanted to use. So like for my Stormcast Eternals army, I wanted to do this like light blue and purple on silver color scheme. And I just liked the light blue and purple options that Citadel paints had more than Army Painter. So I went with that. I don't really see a difference in like quality necessarily, though. I have found that my Army Painter paints last longer. Sorry. Trying to choose a brush. I'm going to go with... Are Warhammer figures the only thing you paint? Yeah, right now. I don't really use minis for D&D, so I don't really have any D&D minis. Maps and minis and stuff like that for D&D is just not something I've messed with yet. It'd be helpful, because when I run D&D games or just GM anything, I'm very bad at describing distances. And maps would be helpful. Like, I'm always like, the party enters the dungeon, and at the other end of the dungeon, there's an evil wizard. He's like, I don't know, like 2 7-Elevens away. Like, like the length of 2 convenience stores, like just an average convenience. Yeah, I'm very bad at telling distance. Movie Pass as the final boss in SJU Tabletop. They would definitely, yeah, no, the Movie Pass guy would definitely have to be there. Um, Maybe we're rescuing the director of marketing. That's the campaign. Is okay. Hang on, let me actually see if I can like. See, I'm actually painting. Um, yeah, they're rescuing Chloe, the director of marketing, but then in an ultimate twist, Chloe ends up being the true big bad all along. What? Oh my god. Um, any thoughts on doing a drunk Corona fights viral hangout with Ken, Dan, Makuga, whoever else was baiting? That's from Haskell 420. No, honestly, drunk movie fights, I know a lot of people enjoyed and thought was very fun. Uh, Most of us did not, um, if that makes sense. Um, there were some cool, fun moments in it, but I think most of us don't want to revisit it. Um, I'll probably get drunk on here and just hang out with some folks at some point, um, just to do it. Because I got a nice little bottle of whiskey over there, and a nice little bottle of sake from my trip to Japan that I haven't opened yet, and nothing but time apparently because we can't leave our homes because the world's ending. I'll probably get drunk. And Haskell, that wasn't coming down on you for enjoying drunk movie fights at all. I apologize if it came off that way. Just not something I'd want to do again. We briefly kicked around the idea of doing an outbreak on his trailer, and then we were like, "Oh, never mind. Like people are dying. This is horrible." So we probably just shouldn't. Um, but there was a brief moment where we were like, "Do we do that? People are asking for it." But then it was like, "Oh no, everything's bad." Um, but we are still making honest trailers. You'll like Tuesdays. It's a big one. It's about wars in space. Mm-hmm. Christopher, I've considered doing a drunk mini painting. You're richer than I am, man. I can't can't afford to try to paint these things drunk. It's very stressful. Um, yeah, this period of time is going to make a like, man. I don't. Chad722 says this period of time is going to make a very interesting movie someday. This year's it's been an insane couple of years, man. It just hasn't stopped. It just hasn't at all, honestly. Uh, on any at work, it doesn't stop. In life, it doesn't stop. In the world, it doesn't stop. It's been really crazy. Um, Steve Jolly says, "Hello. I recently started painting minis after my wife got me the Critical Role mini set. That's awesome." Um, as self-deprecating as I'm being about it, I actually do really enjoy it. It is calming sometimes, uh, but it is really satisfying when you put them out on a table and they're all painted up. They all look really cool, um, and you can go like, "Hey, I did that. I did a thing. I did a skill." I'm not artistic at all, so I did not think that I would be good at this in the slightest. And the fact that I can even like make a passable mini, as I've just been poking at this one and not paying attention for the past 10 minutes, the fact that I can make like a passable one, uh, I'm pretty stoked about. Right? I'm proud of that. It's nice. Can't actually see what I'm doing. I'm gonna figure this out. I promise. Um, Black Lash 225. Heard you had your own channel from Rock. Isn't Roxy Stryer the best? I love her very much. Um, she is my sweet sister, and I think she's great. Do, do, do. do, 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 do. Hi, Al Tadpole. Do, 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 do. Have you watched the mini painting shows Will Friedle did? No, I haven't. Tell me about them. I have not seen those at all. I thought this would also be fun to do just because I think like I talk about this stuff every now and then on SJU, but I don't really do anything about it or with it or anything. So I don't know. I thought this would be fun to do instead of just coming on and being and talk. There are cats fighting at my feet. I thought this would be more fun than just coming on and like talking about movies because that's fun. But I do it a lot, and this is something that you guys haven't really seen me do. So I thought this would be a good time. And I don't know, maybe there's an ASMR quality to my voice that you all enjoy and relax to and calm down to. Let's do some purple. Um, what kind of cats do you have in case they decide to stay in hiding? I have an orange tabby named Stuart. He's an idiot, and I love him. And then I have my wife has a specific name for her breed, and I don't remember it. Um, but I have a white shit, and she's mine, and I also love her. Um, so a shithead and an idiot are the kind of cats that I have. What kind of cats do you guys have? I used to paint model planes. I may take it back up. Blacklash. Um, my brother, like way back in the day when he was, um, here's a conundrum I'm having. Okay, so got this coat, right? And it's the bronze, and then it's the blue lining, or like the blue edging, and that's the way all my whole army looks. But most of them don't have cloaks; they just have little touches of this. But these guys have like these billowing cloaks in the style of that. I decided that the lining was going to be purple. Hey, but now here, so what I'm trying to decide: is that outside edge? Should that be blue, or should that be purple? I'm leaning towards blue, but I just don't know yet. I just don't know yet. Um, my brother did like the remote controlled, like the radio controlled model airplanes way back in the day, like in the 80s. Um, and he like built one by hand, by scratch. It was like the first one he did that wasn't like a kit. And they took it out on its inaugural flight. We'll see what I did. Like the purple all ran on the thing. It's terrible. Um, and on the inaugural flight, it went down and got hit by an 18-wheeler on the highway. It's pretty cool. That was the story. I don't know why I told you guys. Bum, bum, bum. F James 72. Hey man, what's the difference between people that are funny around friends and stand-ups? I always wanted to try, but I think it would freak me out. That's actually a really good question. Because I actually try to tend not to be super wacky around friends. I'm not like a sad piece of shit, but like I'm not super on all the time. Um, but I also have stand up friends who are on all the time. So that's not necessarily the difference, right? Um, I don't know exactly the answer to this question. Um, I think it is worth trying once if it's something that you're interested in trying, especially if the idea of it scares the shit out of you. Because the first time you do it, it will be scary, and actually your nerves never quite leave. Um, as you do it. But I do think it's worth trying. I really, really do. Um, I think it's worth trying to write 2-3 minutes worth of jokes and going on a stage and trying them out. There's nothing quite like, okay, here's a difference. Your friend that's always on is performing at you. A stand up comedian is performing to you, having a dialogue with you. Um, There's my difference. Man, I just got deep. That's crazy, right? Um, absolutely crazy. Ninjanomics has an Alaskan Klekai named Ninja, and I love Ninja so much that I might brave the quarantine, sneak to your home, and steal your dog. I'm gonna steal your dog, Bert, and touching up some purple. Bup, 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 bup. I love hearing about people's remote control plane adventures. Thank you. It's my favorite genre as well. Should sell a show to Hulu. about airplanes. This is actually really hard to do, talking and trying to pay attention to what I'm doing. That's why I make the big bucks, you guys. Um, Again, thank you, you guys, for hanging out and subscribing to this stupid page. I really appreciate it. Thank you for hitting like. That's important. If you've ever seen me on SJU, you know that hitting the like button is important. I feel bad that the dancing thing hasn't happened yet. Um, I'm gonna be honest. Uh, it just doesn't feel right now with everything that's happening. But I promise we'll do the dumb dancing thing as soon as we're on the other side of this. I'm very excited about it. We were going to do it during one of the pre-tapes, um, and but then the show just ended up being like, here's more movies delayed by the coronavirus, and it just felt weird. The idea of me just like dancing throughout that, just I don't know, felt funky. I'm actually making this mini worse because I'm just not actually paying attention to what I'm doing. I'm just like flicking a paintbrush at it. See what I did? All right, got all that purple there and there on his back. I'm gonna have to fix that out. Here's what I'm putting off: painting her face. I don't like painting skin. Um, and I've already lost some detail on this one. So when you paint, you have to prime your minis with paint primer, so that way the paint that you add stays. And normally these come in like gray plastic, and you have to prime them. Um, and for some reason, these came pre-primed gold because like the standard paint scheme for these guys is gold and blue. But I'm a rebel and an artist, and I was like, nope, silver and purple for me. But they came primed gold, so I had to. Um, could I have just painted with a non-primer silver over the already primed gold? Yeah, probably. But I went with just like repriming them silver because I have a silver primer. That's the base of all of these guys. And in doing so, I lost a little detail, and which ultimately doesn't matter. Like, am I going to paint the pores on this thing's face? No, I'm not good enough to do that. But I also don't just want it to be like a weird, smooth, beige, fleshy. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? There are people that like do these faces like hella detailed, and I'm not one of them. For a couple of, so I'll show you. So here's another archer that I customized because I'm obsessed with fantasy characters that wear hoods. So some of my archers have hoods, and like the face isn't detailed really. I just sort of did a wash of brown over the face. That's kind of good enough for me. It like hints at features. It like gives some depth to the sculpt of the plastic. That's kind of fine with me. Um, so when I was in fifth grade, this segues into a story. So when I was in fifth grade, we had to do this stupid project uh, where we had to make a doll of a president out of a dish soap bottle. And my dad, for whatever reason, got like really pumped about it and basically did the project for me. But he made this. I got assigned Kennedy, and my dad made this incredible doll out of a dish laundry detergent dish soap as Kennedy in his uh, shoot, what kind of boat was he in the war? Hang on, let me look it up. JFK Army. Almost there, guys. I know this, but me looking stuff up on Wikipedia is possibly the ultimate in it's a P something boat because he was in the South Pacific, and yeah, PT boat. But he was just in a patrol torpedo craft. Duh. So my dad like made this JFK doll, and like sewed the uniform and everything. Like made little medals. It looked dope. But what he didn't do was give it a face. And his reasoning was, as soon as we put like googly eyes on this, it looks nothing like Kennedy. It looks more like Kennedy if people just have to use their imagination and like fill in the details. Like we'll give the vaguest amount of like some like there was like a nose on it and like hair, like a hairline, and that was like it. But that was my dad's thought, was like it looks more like Kennedy now. And then if we try to draw a stupid face on it, um, it won't look anything like Kennedy. It'll just look like a dumb thing with googly eyes. And um, I don't know. That always stuck with me. So I don't. I just sort of do like a quick wash on faces a lot of the time, and just hope that that does the job. Hey, there's a cat. This is Sarah. She sucks. Hey, baby. And now I can't paint. Um, again, hope you guys are doing good. Let me know what you guys are doing to stay busy in this weird time. I'm going to paint for probably like 20 more minutes and then get out of here. By paint, I mean fix what I've already been screwing up. Christopher, you've been painting minis too. I mean, I guess I saw the silver lining of this is to finally like actually finish this stupid army, because this is just my Stormcast army like that I've expanded from the starter kit, and I still have minis from the starter kit that I haven't painted yet. So it's time. It's time to get them done. So I am fixing some blue that I screwed up, and wishing a cat wasn't on my lap, because she's going to make this much more complicated. Thank you, Sarah. I've never played a Phantasy Star game, Outlaw Tadpole. Pitch me on Phantasy Star. I don't know a whole lot about it. It's always looked cool. It was like the Sega version of Final Fantasy to me, and I was a Super Nintendo kid, so I never played Phantasy Star. Victor just binge watch. That's hard. Hard. That's like a warm up sentence. That's a tongue twister. Binge watched Boardwalk Empire. I've been watching Tiger King on Netflix. Y'all gotta watch it. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Backlash, my job sent most people home. You're one of 6 people socially isolated with your boss at work. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Hope your boss is dope. Otherwise, ew. I'm so sorry. That sucks. That really, really sucks. Yep, now I'm just gonna get completely quiet, which is what you guys tuned in to see. A comedian just not fucking speaking at all. Chad's going for lots of walks. I want to too. It's been raining here a lot, and then yesterday was like the first sunny day we've had where you could actually go outside, and everyone went outside, and so it was a little like, all right, guys, if we keep doing this, they're just gonna like tell us we have to completely stay inside. So I'm hoping it doesn't come to that. That probably will. I think this is going to continue to escalate until we're straight up just like not allowed to go outside at all, because I'm terrified not to spread fear and misinformation. I haven't heard that from any of my sources on the inside. Just me being real scared. Glenn's been rewatching the Lord of the Rings extended edition. That's cool. I want more fantasy stuff to watch. I've been having a hankering to watch Conan the Barbarian. I'll probably do that today. It's pretty good. Pretty good movie. Christopher, you can mansplain away. I'm not very good at this. Ooh, Dragonheart. Solid. Is Dragonheart a word of advice? I thought you had painting advice. Although just Dragonheart in general is good life advice. Just that people should watch it. I'm trying to decide shit I actually want to do with these things right now. This is not easy. See, not easy at all. And the other one's just rolling around. They're really frustrated that I'm doing this. And we're licking the paint and we're sniffing the paint. I tend to keep my wrist leaned directly onto my desk. I usually do too. But just like with this setup being what it is, I'm sort of trying to like, sort of adjust. No, it is a good call and you are right. I am definitely usually just like hunkered down with my wrists on the desk. But yeah, I'm sort of slowly trying to figure this out, but you are absolutely right. Eventually this will turn into, I'll have the setup sort of figured out a little better for that. Maybe even, well, now there's just a cat in the shot and not me. And you guys are here for me and not her, right? Yeah, no one's tuned in for her. No one's tuned in for her. You're tuned in for me. You're tuned in for me. Stop eating my brush. Stop eating my brush. I love her, and she's a piece of shit. Elliot, I'm almost finished watching Pencils and Parsecs, and I don't want it to end. Thank you for watching it. If you guys don't know what that is, I was in a Star Wars RPG for 3 seasons, and I hate you so much. I was in a Star Wars RPG for 3 seasons. I played a character named Aaron Val, who was a rich kid on basically like in a very sort of like abusive home, who bails on his family and steals a lot of their money, and basically like tries to shortcut into being like this legendary smuggler by buying like an entire crew, and then they quickly realize he's an idiot and turn on him and like dump him on Tatooine. Was it Tatooine? It might have just been like a different desert planet. There's a lot of desert planets. But yeah, he was sort of a dummy, and I very much loved playing him. And that's over at Hyper RPG's YouTube, if you ever want to watch it. There's a lot of great people on it. Ninjanomics, who's in the chat. Bert Jennings was the GM. He's an amazing storyteller. Emma Fife is in it. She played the captain. Keith Silverstein, who's the voice on Overwatch, is in it. Hector Navarro. It was a really great cast, and I think you guys would really like it. I think you guys would really enjoy it. Chad asked, have you watched any of the empty arena wrestling shows? They're weird. Yeah, they seem, I've watched like clips. I haven't watched any whole shows. Like I saw the AEW stuff where Matt Hardy debuted, and man, this stuff seems so weird. I feel so bad for Drew McIntyre doing this empty arena WrestleMania, or like the Performance Center WrestleMania. Like, this dude's worked his ass off his whole life. And he finally gets to main event this thing, and they're like, well, now you have to do it in a gym, and there's no audience. Enjoy yourself and wash your hands in between suplexes. God, I feel so sorry about all of them. Fair to say that he was the Jack Sparrow of Space Pirates, Troy asks. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's someone more who's like a better person to describe him as, because Jack's a little different. Jack's a little like swarthier and like mildly more competent too. I don't know. Let's talk character. Do you guys think that Jack Sparrow's ridiculousness was an act? Or was he actually an idiot that things just sort of worked out for? I think it was more of an act that he like put on. That's my opinion about Jack Sparrow. I like those movies. I love Emma Fife too. She's great. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching Pencils and Parsecs. It's a great show. It's one of my favorite Star Wars things. I really, really miss that show. Really miss doing it. Ellie says, I kind of named my D&D character after Aaron Val. Thank you so much. That's honestly, I really appreciate that. That's really, really cool. Yeah, that character is really near and dear to me. Yeah, I love him very much. You never quite got all the guy's backstory, but Yeah, man, that was a great ride. That was super fun to do. Started in season 2 and eventually had to double back to season 1. Fun time. Yeah. I mean, it's obviously season 2 is better because like I show up around the end of season 1, so like things improve. Duh, obviously. Um, cat. So I have like my paint sort of like set up. I'm using like this like cardboard for like my swatches, and now a cat is sniffing it. So that's good. That's really good. This is challenging. This is all just like falling apart really quickly. Isn't this fun? We Oh, Bert, stop it. Um, yeah, I hope you guys are doing good. Again, I know I keep like doing these weird check-ins and stuff. It's been a weird week, and I think it's okay for everyone to kind of like pause and acknowledge that things are bad and a little overwhelming. Um, we've been. I know we haven't made any like official announcements through Screen Junkies yet. Some announcements about what we're doing are coming. We're just not quite there yet. So we'll still be burning through some pre-tapes until then. Um, so on one hand, it's been nice to be working and to be busy on familiar things, and I'm also very lucky because I think I might be one of the only people in Los Angeles that didn't lose their job this week. I'm very fortunate for that. Um, but at the same time, like if you are still busy and you're still finding things to do, it's like okay to pause and recognize how insane things are and take a couple of breaths. I've been finding myself needing to do that because all of this is very weird and it's all very like overwhelming. Um, um, but yeah, Blacklash. I'm okay. This is a lot, honestly. Um, things like don't feel good or normal. And it's weird wrapping your head around the fact of like just keep swimming when like you have no idea like what's coming, right? Like in the US, this right now, it sort of feels like, oh, well, we just sit in our homes for a while and that's it. But, with the reality, sorry, I'm being really shitty. Just being like, hey, you guys want to doom and gloom here at the tail end of this? The reality is like, it gets worse. It's going to get worse. We're a couple days sort of behind the Italy timeline. And I think things are going to get a little scarier before they get better. But all we can do is just like keep being nice to each other, take care of who you can take care of. Um, yeah, that's really all we can do, man. Um, so I do hope that you guys are doing good. Eugene asked, do you know if animation houses are equipped to keep animating from home? Um, I don't know. I would assume that most. I don't know a whole lot about animation houses, honestly, but I would assume that a lot of them people go in the studio. Um, the only one I've ever really been in, and this was years ago, was Titmouse, and it seemed like they had a whole lot of setup for people to come in and work. I know a couple of freelance animators that have setups at home, but I don't know how people are doing sort of on that front. I'm assuming that everyone's scrambling to figure out some kind of arrangement for that kind of thing. Um, Even if it's just providing equipment for their animators to work from home and take it from the office in hopes that they can keep working and kind of keep producing and keep moving things. Um, Chad, yeah, no, I know it's not forever. There is a lot of data telling you're absolutely right. Um, it'll be a bumpy road to get there, I think. But you're right. Ultimately, I think people will pull through, and things are going to be really different. I think. I hope. I don't know. Um, Bert says, sorry, Ninja Novics 101 says, we're in video game production and we're doing our best to work from home. Um, so there you go. Video game production's working from home. Screen Junkies and Phantom working from home. I do have to give props to Phantom, who were really ahead of the curve on this thing and sent us home like a week before I think the rest of the state started waking up to the fact that people needed to be working from home. So props to my employers for that. Because even when they were like, sorry, work from home, we were still like in a mental point. We were like, really? That's a little much, right? And No, it's not. So, props to fandom for really being ahead of this. Uh, Chris says, I work in healthcare and I can't imagine anything being the same after this. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you're doing um, in healthcare, but if you're sort of safely working remotely or front lines or what, but regardless, thank you for doing what you're doing. Um, yeah, I agree. I don't see how things stay the same. I think our election this year is going to be fascinating because it's going to be all um, response to this. I think on both sides, um, the entire election is going to be run on how Trump responded to this, how Biden and the Democratic leadership responded to it. It's going to be really, really nuts. Um, Canadian Cat Dad, what's up? Do you think there will be any lasting culture changes? Is shaking hands a thing of the past, etc.? I think masks are going to get a lot more normal. Um, uh, I think we do need to replace shaking hands with something cool like a nice like house party foot tap or something like that, or even just a polite nod. Um, but yeah, I do think there will probably be some cultural changes. It is There are so many people on the street still today. It's freaking me out. Lucas asks, it's not plague related, but have you had the chance to play Warhammer Total War? I have not. I'm actually not I have a PS4. I'm not much of a gamer. Um, so like console games is kind of where I'm at. We don't have like a PC here to play. Um, if I did, it'd probably be bad because that's all I would do. Um, I barely made it through college because of Final Fantasy IX. I get really obsessed with games. Hey, Dizzle, you did make it. Hey, it's adorable. It's adorable. You think there's still going to be an election? I know. I know. I know. FJM72S, is it better to do your personality on stage or be an opposite personality from yourself? I don't know. I guess it depends on what you're doing. Like if you want to play a character or do something weird or uh, try something new, then go for it. Ultimately, I think all roads lead to being yourself um, on stage. Whether you think you're playing a character, I think ultimately you'll find out that you're playing a character so that you can do material or cover ground that you wouldn't feel comfortable with being yourself. Uh, so I think ultimately, like all roads are going to lead to you sort of being a truer version of yourself on stage. It was very deep for me this early in the morning. Coffee. Oh my god. Um, a worry. Rabbit Wombat said, "A worry in the back of my head is that companies will realize how much can be done remotely and hire people in cheaper areas." Yeah, yeah. No, I think that's a valid concern. Um, and I think we're just going to have to stay loud about making sure that companies don't get to walk all over workers as a result of this. Like people are going to have to say loud. Um, like we're going to have to get marchy loud soon in the U.S. I really think we are. And I'm not the most politically smart person in the world, but you know, I'm not the most interesting person to talk to about these things. I think there are much smarter people online to talk to and listen to. Jenny Yang, someone who comes to mind, who was a former political activist turned comedian. She's really brilliant. Follow her on Twitter. Uh, but I think we're gonna have to get marching soon, as soon as it's medically appropriate to do so. Definitely gonna need the three seashells, or we're gonna need bidets. My trip to Japan, that was the best part of the trip. Toilets, man. Oh, the toilets. Um, ba, 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 mhm. Dizzle, my side job, which is now my main jobs, deliveries. You saw, yeah. I don't get it, man. There's so many people out. Um, And I just think if people aren't more responsible with it, then they're just going to clamp down even more. Like I fully expect in LA by the end of the week, they're just going to be like, well, you just can't go outside now at all because y'all fucked it up. Like just because we said you could go hiking doesn't mean 1,000 of you go hiking on one trail, which is what's happening because we're all morons. Um, we're all morons, you guys. I'm going to try to paint like a little bit more. Um, with a cat pawing at me and screwing up everything that I do. And then I'm going to get out of here. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I really, really do. I was going back and forth on whether or not I was going to do this today, so I figured I'd just screw it and just go ahead and hit live and see what happens. And I appreciate you guys hanging out, man. I really, really do. Dizzle, since you did a set visit for the New Mutants, do you think it's ever going to come out? Yeah, it's going to come out on Hulu, I think, in the next, I think next week. I'm calling my shot. We're going to get news about New Mutants coming out on Hulu. Oh, that set visit. Really, the only reason I can't talk about the set visit is because there's spoilery stuff, because I know things about the movie. And I don't think the studio would sue me or whatever, but I also just don't want to spoil the movie. Because I think it'll be cool. I think it'll be good. All right. I'm going to get paint on my cat. She's going to love it. What am I doing? I am fixing all of the things that I screwed up while trying to paint and talk. Because this was a terrible idea. But that's what I do, is have bad ideas. And I hope you guys had fun hanging out. I appreciate y'all. I really, really do. I appreciate my cat who just put her paw in silver paint because she sucks. Just cleaning up a leg here. Very exciting. Very great content. I know that this is riveting for you guys, and I appreciate it. But yeah, this is what I like to do and hang out doing when I'm not on camera at SJU, throwing out the hot takes, you guys. Yes, Bert, we will play soon. Dizzle asked, when you bomb while doing a set, do you continue the set or switch gears? This is a great question. It's your job, right? As a comic on stage, it's your job to figure it out. And that's easier said than done, man. I've seen incredible comedians just suddenly eat shit for inexplicable reasons. Just sometimes it's just not there. It's never the audience's fault. I mean, sometimes I guess it is. Really, it's not your fault either. Like sometimes it's just not going to happen. Doesn't mean that you're bad at it. But I do think it's your job to switch gears and kind of figure out what's going on, what's going wrong. My best example is I'll tell this story and then I'll get out of here. Is I got hired to do this. Bye, cat. I got hired to do this holiday Christmas show. It was at a club. They rented out the comedy club. I was at the John Lovitz, which is no longer there, at City Walk, and they rented out the club and hired a bunch of comics for the Burbank Fire Department. And I was still a pretty new comedian and didn't know how to shift gears, like you're asking. Just had my material, right? And which was pretty left-leaning, let's yell about what's going on in the world / real niche, nerdy stuff at the time. It's what I was working on. It's what I had. Fire department, spoiler alert, didn't give a shit. Just arms crossed. I don't think they wanted to do this anyway for their, what a terrible idea for a holiday party. We're going to take you all to a room and you're not allowed to speak to each other. You just have to sit and listen to a fucking stranger. So it was terrible out the gate, right? Just the mood and the environment. And I had to do 10 minutes and it was just 10 minutes. It was a rough 10 minutes, man, because it lasts forever if it's not going well. Just these pissed off firefighters, just with their arms folded, just so yeah, it was a nightmare, and I did my best. I tried to switch to riffing with them and do crowd work and stuff. It just didn't work. But yeah, always do your best to switch gears and figure it out. Sometimes it's not going to work, and that's okay. Much like this paint and chat, sometimes it's not going to work. Um, I'm going to get out of here. Pitch a Warhammer movie too. Oh my god! Just real quick, I'll work on that. I'll work on pitching a Warhammer movie. I promise. Um, I'm gonna get out of here though. Hope you guys had fun. Um, take care of yourselves and be nice to each other and enjoy your ramen. See you guys soon. Bye.